Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Got a question for you. How many non-U.S. citizens do you think have been convicted of voting in U.S. elections over the past 10 years? Take a wild guess. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, 50 million. You don't know? Well, you're not alone. Neither does the FBI Director. Yeah, fam, and his department is, tasked with keeping up with such things. Yeah, I mean, Kash got his hat brought to him during a recent congressional hearing. I mean, Jim Himes ripped him up, man. You got to see this for yourself. You'll see that this guy was visibly shook.
Director Patel, how many non-citizens have been convicted of voting in U.S. elections in the last 10 years?
The conviction stats are with the Department of Justice. I defer to them on that.
You are the director of the FBI. Give me a guess. How many convictions in the last 1 year, 5 year, or 10 year? Ballpark.
I don't have that with me, sir. Again, it's with the department.
You don't have that with, okay. Director Patel, how many active investigations does the FBI have into foreign individuals voting in U.S. elections?
We have a number of investigations, generally speaking, ongoing about individuals across the country.
Yeah, I'm asking for that number.
I don't have that number with me, but I have a number of them.
You have a number of investigations. Okay, is that number 10,000? Is it closer to 10,000 or closer to 10?
It's probably somewhere in between.
Okay, will you please provide the committee with that number?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Director Patel, since you don't have the numbers, would it surprise you to know that the Heritage Foundation, which is not exactly the Columbia University Faculty Lounge, found only 77 instances of non-citizen voting in the 24 years between 1999 and 2023, each of which faced investigation by the appropriate authorities. So Heritage has a number of 77 examples in 24 years. Does that number surprise you?
No, because it's low.
I don't know. Intelligence in your possession pointing to foreign in 24 years. Does that number surprise you?
No, because it's low.
Man, Kash just be saying anything. He asked him to take a guess between 1 and 10,000. He says between 1 and 10,000. He said it's probably somewhere between. Between is 5,000. It's only been 77 cases of people being convicted, non-U.S. citizens being convicted of voting in U.S. elections. Then Kash said the 77 doesn't surprise him because the number is low. Like, what are you talking about, man? Oh man.
I don't understand your answer.
You asked me if I was.
Are you disputing that the number is in the range of 77 examples of non-U.S. citizens voting in U.S. elections in a 24-year period?
I just said that number is low.
You think that number is low? Okay. So why, if this is a meaningful issue, do we have no, and I guess I direct this to Director Gabbard, why is there no mention of this thing that will grind the American government to a halt for a 2-week period in the worldwide threats analysis?
This annual threat assessment was shaped around the national security strategy's prioritization of threats to our nation and our nation's interests. There are multiple platforms and venues where there have been and there will be reporting on threats to our foreign threats to our elections.
Yield back.
Gentleman yields. Vice Chairman Kelly.
I'd first just like to say, Director Gabbard, you being in Georgia was a part of your duties as DNI to make sure that our elections remain safe, secure, and free from every type of influence. That was why you were there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would argue, I want to talk about some of the points about the strikes on Iran, the current attacks, Epic Fury. And I would state that not only are there imminent threats from Iran, but there are actual threats. And I've been on the receiving end of those threats. I was in Iraq in 2005, where Iranian-based and manned and equipped units attacked American soldiers, including me, multiple times. I will also tell you I went back in 9 and 10 where EFPs developed by the Iranians struck my soldiers and our equipment. I would tell you the Houthis have continued to strike Saudi Arabia. I will tell you Hamas and Hezbollah has continued to strike throughout the Middle East. And although we're not in an armed services hearing, we had that yesterday. But I will tell you, because we took out their ballistic missiles and their ability to defend from the air, that Europe is no longer under threat from Iran, who showed they will strike everyone that they can by striking all of their Arab neighbors in Azerbaijan and Turkey and everywhere else. With that being said, Director Ratcliffe, I think the CIA has had a great year in providing intelligence, whether that's in Venezuela, the initial Midnight Hammer strikes, or also the current strikes in Iran. Can you tell us kind of some of the things the CIA has done over the past year that you're proud of?
Congressman, good to see you again. Thank you for the question. Good to see all of you and be back in the House. I guess I'll start by saying I think you all know there was bipartisan concern when I took over the CIA that our human collection was in a downward spiral and had been for some period of time. And you all wanted a more aggressive CIA, one that was focused on core mission, one that was collecting the kind of intelligence and stealing secrets that would provide a decisive strategic advantage that can contribute to national security and foreign policy successes.
We can stop right there, fam. Here's the deal. I personally don't like these congressional hearings because mostly it's just a dog and pony show. People seldom face consequences for their actions. It's just like going in front. It's like going before, like in front of your parents, and you know your parents ain't really about that life. You know you got those soft parents, so they ain't gonna do nothing. All they gonna do is just scold you just give you a real hard pointing at, like, and you know, and what are you fam, you've been around those type of adults, right? And you know you have zero fear. It's almost comical. You kind of laugh at them because you know they're not going to do anything. Now, this guy knows that the CIA has been falling short of the mission lately. He knows that. He knows at least that a number of people feel like all of those organizations that Donald Trump run, every single department has fallen short. And this guy comes out blazing like, you know, tell us all the great things that you've done. And first he starts out trying to pretend to be stern, like, you know, and I've served and I da. And then he goes, you know, and the CIA has done this great stuff and it's been a great year for CIA. I don't think it's been a great year for any department headed by Trump. Not one department in the Trump administration has it been a good year for. That is why his party is on the chopping blocks. That is why you have about a quarter of Republicans who have said they're not going to even seek re-election because they don't want to get embarrassed. But also they don't want to seek re-election is because they're done with Trump. They're done with the Republican Party under Trump's leadership. I do see some of them maybe coming back later, but some of them are saying, you know what, I'm out of here, man. I'm not coming back. The thing is that if you can get those same amount of people to go ahead and stand on business right now while they still got their vote and their vote matters, it would mean a lot more, and it would actually lend credence, you know, to their so-called honor, you know, because they got the power right now to affect change right now. And so rather than exercise that power, they would rather fall back and just say, hey, I'm not in it. That way you can't blame me. Kind of like what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. She's a coward. Instead of standing, and holding the line and fighting, she decided to take off and run. You know what? I'm just going to leave the party and that's it. I'm just going to bow out. I thought you started so that you could be a change agent. That's what you said. But once she realized that Trump was not going to no longer endorse her, she was like, well, let me get on out of here. Instead of trying to change it from the inside out, she decided to get all the way out. And you know what she's going to do, right? All she's going to do is go get her a job on one of these networks, become some type of host or something like that, or she's going to get on radio or something, and she's going to go get a lot of money. Since she's already been a politician, a high-level politician, a congresswoman, she's used to having her face seen, almost having rock star type status. So she'll probably go somewhere. She'll probably end up doing some type of television, some type of cable TV or network TV, so that, she can be seen because, she has a familiar face. She has a name recognition and all that. So she'll probably end up, I'll bet $1 to a donut she ends up on a cable network, more likely a cable network, but it could be network television. In any event, this guy, Kash Patel, the way that he was shook answering those questions, it lets you know that the guy who was questioning him was on the right track. However, it's all dog and pony because he can't do anything to Kash Patel. So what's the use of grilling him if you can't do anything? Okay, you can expose him and let the American people know, hey, this side is good, because he has to answer these questions. Now you can expose him, but other than that, he's still not losing his job. He still gets to keep his job. So what's the point? You tell me, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.